If your brand belongs in the heart of the yachting world, this is where it happens. Yachting International Radio reaches over 1 million yachting professionals and enthusiasts every month, with 77 million impressions, 220,000 social followers, and 74,000 podcast subscribers. Our hosts are insiders, crew, captains, CEOs, trusted voices shaping the industry. This is targeted, high-impact advertising in a luxury niche. Visit yachtinginternationalradio.com/advertise. Your audience is already listening.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rich as Fuck podcast, the show we talk about money, life, business, yachting, and all things in between. Today I've got a buddy on the show. His name's Craig Condy, business coach based out of Australia, ex-yacht crew member, and just all-round legend. Really looking forward to today, so welcome to the show.
Yeah, so good to be here, Charl. Glad we finally made this up.
Yeah, man. And so for those that aren't familiar with you, why don't you give us a little summary of your origin into yachting? What's your story and where are you today?
Geez, where do I begin here? So look, how I usually start is just by sharing that when I was in school and like looking to leave school, I just had three things in mind. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to work for myself. I loved music, so I wanted to do something music-based, and I wanted to travel the world. So when I left school, I actually saw this gap in the market to just install home audio and video equipment in people's homes in South Africa, which kept me busy and out of trouble. And that really did well for itself. And I did that while studying several different courses in engineering and sound engineering and advanced music production. And I went down a couple of rabbit holes, but ultimately I left with a lot of qualifications. I was, a musician at the time as well, running my own business, but I still haven't checked that box of traveling the world. So yeah, I had a cousin that reached out. She had done a season in yachting and she's like, Craig, you've got to get over there, man. And she gave me like a brief rundown, but ultimately I just booked the one-way ticket to the south of France. Didn't know anything, but I was actually really excited about that idea of just immersing myself in a whole new culture. I was expecting to, not be able to speak to anybody because everybody would really speak this exotic language of French, that I've never heard of or never spoken. And so I was just so excited to just start from scratch. When I got over there, however, there's hardly anybody speaking French, of course. And it was exciting. Oh, there's so many. It was like a really welcoming journey, but at the same time, I didn't have anything prepared. So I did what any green yachtie does, just started walking the docks, looking for day work, and slowly over the weeks, months, and years, I started, building on my CV, working on bigger and bigger boats, and ultimately led to me moving on to a World Explorer super yacht, where I ended up traveling to 42 countries in the space of 3 years.
Wow.
So ultimately, bringing my whole yachting career of 7 years, I'd done about over 70 countries, traveled the world, and really ticked that travel box. And actually on the last boat, I was also hired as a musician. So it was all coming together.
Epic.
It was really amazing. But through that journey, and look, we went everywhere from Greenland to Antarctica. The traveling was amazing. However, we were working 90-hour weeks. I'm sure most of us have been really just back to back, no end in sight. And there came that question. I was boatswain / lead, and it's like, okay, cool. You're doing your tickets, you're going to be rank up, do second officer. I was like, oof, I saw this vision. I'm like, second officer, first officer, captain. Is that me? I don't know. If not, who am I? I like the idea of working for anybody else for that long, and I wanted to start my own business. And I saw so much movement out there, especially in the digital space. So ultimately, I left the industry and actually moved to Indonesia, where I started exploring a lot of these digital nomads that were starting businesses from their laptops and surfing half the day. I was like, that looks like a rad life. Several businesses, which I was proud about, and I could see the avenue where they were going, but it wasn't really something I could sink my teeth in. I could see the 6-figure goal if I followed that journey, but I was like, can I see myself waking up doing that every day? If not, then, why do it? I was still trying to find myself. And during that process, I had a lot of yacht crew and colleagues from the industry that were looking to me for guidance and be like, hey, Craig, I also want to leave the industry before I step out. What's out there? You started your own businesses before, what do you do? What should I do? And ultimately, I just naturally transitioned into becoming this kind of leader in the space and coaching a lot of yacht crew. And that's where I fell in love, man. I was like, I had this idea of wanting to change the world. And I'm like, man, if I can just change the world one person at a time, help one person transition. And thankfully, with all, most of the yacht crew I work with, I've got such a broad understanding of the world, a lot of philanthropical concepts that helping empower them to do what they love. The ripple effects of that were endless. So that became really exciting for me. And I started actually transitioning myself into becoming coach for crew members and working in the space of business and mindset, performance, empowerment, like all of these different avenues. Got certified in NLP, hypnosis. Most recently, became a certified practitioner in neurotransformational therapy, which is exciting because ultimately it didn't matter who I worked with. The same thing was true for everybody, is that they had to work on their mindset first. So a lot of my coaching actually works with the person first, helping them transform into who they need to be, their vision for their future, and then ultimately, setting a course to help them achieve that. And it's been an incredible journey, man. Really excited.
That's awesome. That's a very thorough summary. So thanks for that. And it kind of eased me up. It eased me up good for the remaining questions. So I appreciate that. And it kind of it frames everything a bit clearer for me. So before we go on to the shore side of things, I want to just kind of wrap up your stint in yachting. So what are some standout stories and lessons from your time on board?
Oh, that's an interesting question, Charl. Like, how do you say enough without saying too much? You don't want to give away too much. I mean, everything from, running into icebergs in Antarctica to like bailing out crew members in Ibiza, it's so much there. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot. I've seen a hell of a lot, especially just traveling around the world. And I think what I've taken from the industry in totality is that a lot of us, we need to understand that we're surrounding ourselves with such incredible people. And that was a real standout factor for me. I think it was commonly said by Tim Ferriss, you are the average of your 5 best friends or the 5 people you spend most time with. Man, you are boats with people that are spending like $1 million a week just to hire these boats. Like, listen to what they have to say. Don't just complain about doing the service and stuff. Like, man, like that was a real standout point. When you come back ashore, you're not surrounded by those people anymore. So don't take it for granted.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I make such a point of it each time we get a new set of charting guests. Or I've been lucky enough to be in the same program for 4 years. So I have forged some relationship with the owner. And I mean, you should just turn into a sponge when you're around these people and when you're entrepreneurial, because the advice, the tips, and the networking is, I don't know any other industries like that, because you get to see these people in their most relaxed form. And then they really open. I'm always pleasantly surprised how willing they are to share their knowledge. And a lot of people think that they gatekeep these secrets. You're like, no, the guy, the CEO of Home Depot explained to us the other day what's important in a brick and mortar business. And Nadeki and I were like, oh, wow, it's so simple, but so effective. So that's cool.
Definitely, man. No, I love it, man. But I was very blessed to be the musician on my last boat. So I was the guy who was doing like campfire songs around like, the beach setups at night and doing like, I was the DJ on boats. I was commonly around the guests at their most vulnerable, when they're having a good. Like the other crew, I think, didn't love it very much. I mean, they even called some of the stewardesses like, hey, just give Craig a vodka, you're getting cold. So like, I really got to know the guests, and I encourage you to like, these people are only human, man. Like really, stop it. And as I say to most of my clients in business, is like, no business happens outside of a conversation. Just be free and talk, man. Like you'd be surprised at what comes from just a simple conversation.
Yeah, that's solid advice. So now transitioning from sea to shore, how was that initial transition for you? Was it abrupt? Was it smooth? Was it what you thought? Talk me through it.
Yeah, I don't know like how far we've gone down this rabbit hole just between the two of us. But so when I left, I was quite lucky, I'd diversified a lot of my portfolio. I'd been quite a solid investor and put a lot of my money aside, crypto, all of that. But when I left the industry, there was one particular fund that I was proud of and was doing big numbers. And I thought, while I'm living in Indonesia, I'm like, is there any harm of just coming, like kind of putting all my eggs in one basket, but just for short term, it'll be fine. And it'll grow significantly by the time I get, collected at the end of my Indonesia trip. I can do a lot with that. So that was the vision I had. Ultimately, when I returned to South Africa, moved into my first house, bought a nice car, and 2 weeks later, COVID and lockdown happened. And the investment company where I had all my money, or at least like 80% of it, got liquidated. because the fund manager with everybody's money. And so we lost everything, man. Like all of my savings from yachting just like obliterated. And that was an important lesson, man, for so many reasons. And I mean, we can go into that, but I mean, that transition, that same year, COVID happened, and then my wife got pregnant. Like that was like amazing. But then my dad died 2 months before my daughter was born. And then a month later, my best friend died. And then our house in Umhloti, Durban, I don't know if you guys heard the stories, but they were riots there during COVID.
Yeah.
Got destroyed. We had to move back in with my like widowed mom. Now I had a newborn child. It was not the vision I planned, you know?
Yes.
Think about that proudly, Charl, because I think people sit here and they look at a lot of people ahead of them and they don't realize that a lot of people who got where they are started where they were, man. And that journey with others, people just think you're sitting on your pedestal, like speaking from a point of power, and you haven't gone through the shit that they have. Like, how could you possibly know this, like what they're feeling? I've been there, man. I've been through that downs, and I'm proud of it because it actually helps me become more human with my clients and, you know, meet them where they're at. So yeah, man, it wasn't easy, but I built myself up out of that, and ultimately we relocated to Australia, and I'm loving it because part of my transition here, I strategically positioned myself with an organization which allows me to now work with a lot of the local economy. I've worked with hundreds of small business owners and entrepreneurs in the local area, which has only strengthened my skills and allowed me to focus my practice in upskilling, like, you know, just elevating my performance, my personal and professional. And yeah, it's been such a journey, man. But I think people don't realize that when they're in the industry, and that's what I want to prepare people for. You know, it just only strengthens my ability to help others because I want to show you, like, let's map this out. And that's why we connected, you know, like you're looking so vividly at the financial avenue for people, which is just so smart. I mean, a lot of managers get pissed away on the yachts and without a clear line of sight. And I want to do that for the entrepreneurs. And it doesn't have to be starting your own business. It's just about making that transition easier and actually following more of a roadmap instead of just winging it. Because life's different, Charl, man.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And we're going to tap into that. But yeah, firstly, that's really commendable. I didn't know that part of your exit. And that puts some hairs on your chest, and that's a gnarly fucking transition and a lot to juggle. And, you know, you lost a bunch of pivotal people whilst getting a lot of new pivotal people added to the family. So, like, the dynamic as a man to try and balance all of that, I'm sure was a lot, but you look like you're better off for it. So,
yeah, cheers. I think it basically builds resilience, you know, like we all know Clancy's never made a skilled sailor. But yeah, I think we got through these moments for a lesson. So you learn a lot from it, but it's also like, you know, the mindset behind it all is something that you really need to focus on.
So how did your mindset and your identity shift during that transition? Coming from a loose, all fun musician, yachtie, to a family man, now I live on land, I have real bills to pay. How did that impact your identity?
Yeah, massively, man. I think it's like you don't realize it until you're in it, and like simple things become so pivotal. Like if even just as soon as you move away from the boat, it's like, wait, like where's my lunch? Is the chef not made my lunch? You know, like I have to pay for fuel. I have to, like, you know, travel expenses and, you know, accommodation and all these things that you take on the yacht. They become major milestones each month. So yeah, I think just preparation is key on that. But personally, as a person, I've learned to really see the transferable skills. And that's just something I really speak about with my clients. It's like, you know, don't mistake that. When you're in yachting, the lessons you learn, the skills that you learn are incredible, man. Like, yes, it is quite a militant lifestyle, total, but you don't understand. When I come back ashore, like I work with, like moving to Australia here, people are complaining. It's like, man, I had to work 35 hours last week.
That's amateur number.
Yeah, I was like, shoot. And it's crazy because that's what life is like with people that have not gone through the industry. So taking those lessons and understanding that you have like incredible resilience, man. Like your work ethic, your standards, your values, like they are super high compared to others. And once you start realizing that, it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, I love that. I really think we'll all be better off for it once we do exit. That is the tricky part in this equation, is just kind of knowing when. Like, when is the time? Because I deal with some of the clients I coach in terms of finances. Like, and finances in theory is supposed to be easier because people can attach a number to it. But a lot of people lose their purpose immediately because yachting, even though it seems like the entire world to us and yachties, it actually is such a minute industry that you often, and I'm guilty of this, I've been on the same boat for 4 years. So to me, my echo chamber is extremely small. And my whole world revolves around this one person that we take care of, and then the odd charter guests. And then once that gets taken away, you're like, what is my purpose actually? What are the things I'm good at? What value can I add to the world that doesn't consist of a white stock and pretty boat? So I think our jobs are not easy. Like, we didn't choose easy routes in that sense, but we did choose important things to do because there's not a lot of land-based support for crew that exit.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And it's like that growth mindset versus fixed mindset, like, and when you're in the box, especially like coming from South Africa, man, I mean, you look at like, you move the shore. I don't know about you, man, but when I got there, like one of the first gigs I did when yachting, I did the Monaco Grand Prix, and like, I made 700 euros in like 2-3 days. And they were just like, here's your cash. I'm like, what? Put that. Are you serious? That's crazy. Like, I only did it because I was just like walking the dock. And that level, I was like, now you praise yachting for this ability to just give you so much. And again, it's just about thinking bigger now and like, hey, what's the next step? And that's why I say, like, look at the people that are on the boat, man. When you start realizing that somebody's, got enough money to be able to rent a boat for 750,000 euros for a week, like they did on ours, it's like, what do you do, man? Like, that's the next level. And having both, always thinking like, what's next, really motivates you to take that step. And that's, for me, it's just so about, for me, what I realized when I met that resistance and knew it was kind of time, is that moved away from that hustle mindset of like the understanding that hustle equals success. And now realizing that, alignment means empowerment. So meaning that, when you're actually in alignment, when you first get into the yachting industry, you're super like, this is it. This is like the best thing ever. You feel super excited and things flow, man, and it's easy and it's fun. But once that falls out of alignment with you, it becomes a grind. And once it becomes a grind, you've got to start questioning, what do I do? Maybe you just change your position. Maybe you change your career. Maybe whatever it is you do, but you need to start questioning yourself, because I think that's when it leads to burnouts, where people are so avidly working so hard, doing what they do, but they're not in alignment with it. I think that's when people get burnt out. That's where, mental health issues start to rise. Well, actually, they're not following their true values.
Now, what are some common bullshit beliefs that yachties have regarding career changes? People that you've dealt with.
I was just looking at my board here. I've got a great quote. It's by John Maxwell. He says, a winner knows how much he still has to learn, even when he is considered an expert by others. A loser, he considered an expert by others before he's learned enough to know how little he knows.
I like that. They're like, no further questions. And then talk me through your coaching process. Like, how do you start with someone? Are you able to pick up in like personality patterns that one would be conducive to success? Like, how does that work?
Look, I believe and for a long time, my motto's been like, hey, let me not tell you what I do. Let me just show you. Like, jump on the call with me, man. Let's have a chat. Like, I'm really open, like, to just having a chat with people. Like, I love like networking and just meeting people and hearing about people in the industry and just, just connecting. So that's, off the back of like Grand Yacht Crew and a lot of these other opportunities that we have now to expand our network. It's just so nice to be able to just like talk to yachties, see where they're at. Man, if I can just point you in the right direction, that ticks my box, then I'm excited about that. But if I take a then let's discuss what it would look like to work together and what the gym is like a one-on-one coaching. But that's just so I haven't had enough time to work with as many people as I want. Obviously, just time restrictions, working one-on-one. So at the moment, I'm actually working on group programs, doing a 4-week training module and ultimately building a course, man, which I'm really excited about. And that's taking shape right now. So that's going to be like an online evergreen course, because one of the biggest struggles I found with Yacht Crew is that I'm trying to get them on a call, man, trying to get like that. And then that day, especially when you're trying to do group coaching programs, like trying to find this time that suits everybody across the Caribbean and Mediterranean, like Pacific, it's a nightmare. So having an evergreen program is hopefully going to solve that.
Yeah. I mean, I resonate with that so hard because the one-on-one calls is truly my bread and butter. That's the thing I enjoy the most. It's my main monetization for this venture because everything else is free. And you're right. Like I'm now in a new time zone. Like I live in California now. That's 9 hours behind the Med in South Africa, which is a incredibly tricky time difference to do any business. And same thing, I realized after 35 coaching calls that there's definitely a pattern in what I'm trying to convey and trying to teach. And same story, I just finished building a course on Sunday night, and like everything it's just so much easier for a yachty to go hop on a mobile app and do it that way. And then if they want to pursue more, they can reach out and dig deeper. And it's also a lot more scalable because we build one digital asset which can scale instead of us trading our time directly for each of these sessions. But yeah, I look forward to seeing your course. I'll definitely hop on board and then we can switch out.
Yeah, no, I love that. And look, I mean, we both understand that there's so many repeatable questions, just being able to answer that on an evergreen platform just allows you to reach people and like, hey, get the content that you can from that. If you want to go deeper, let's dive it. Because I'm all about, give information, sell implementation. Like if you find value in that and you want to see how it applies to your life, man, let's have that conversation. See like what you and how you want to build it on for yourself.
Give information, sell implementation. I like that. Mine is full of fucking quotes. Okay, so obviously to attract yachties, ex-yachties, any form of business, we need to do some level of marketing, branding, etc. So how important is a personal brand in attracting business?
Yeah, I mean, it's so powerful, man. I think I use this analogy of a Christmas tree. Like if you look at a Christmas tree, you see all the Christmas presents underneath. You might not know what's inside the presents, but you can get a good idea of who it's for if you look at the wrapper, right? Think for girls, for boys, whatever it is. But like, that's branding. You have to be able to let people know that this is for them. But more importantly, people want to position themselves with the brand that resonates with them. And I think like, that's why I think you, myself, a lot of people that we've networked with, like we're not just trying to build something that's like one source, slap it in your face, put a tag on it and it's gone. But it's actually like we're building something that's bigger than ourselves, and we want to create a movement of sport. So like people that want to resonate in a network. And, as I said earlier, you are the average of your 5 best friends. Why surround yourself with people that are not conducive to your success? People that are on the same mission for you, man. They're all following like the same brand, same values, and like things that resonate with each other so that you can grow together and learn from each other. I just did a class yesterday with training and I trained 5 students in the class. And it's amazing that when you get people all together in one room, like, I mean, yes, I did some coaching, but like the amount of like information that's shared just amongst them, I'm like, this is beautiful. Like I'm just gonna sit there, like that's cool.
Yeah.
Build community like that wherever possible. And I think like that's the importance of brand for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Coaching market. Okay, so this is obviously very much a booming industry, and a lot of people, as you mentioned, like the Bali cohort that goes for a digital nomad lifestyle, is it saturated? What makes us different than the next guy offering some coaching course?
We're all different, man. We've all had different experiences. Like just even the adversity I spoke about earlier, were you affected by that exact same story yourself? No. So you don't have that understanding as I do. And it comes down to, this is why I'm very open with sharing my information. I don't hold my cards too close to my chest. I could give you my exact same framework, my exact same ideas and everything that I have in terms of coaching, but you'll never do it like I do. And that's fine. I'll never do it like you do. We all just very different. And I think that's where the brand is upon, we all resonate with different people. For me, it's Scape Scout, which is the brand that I built. And like, it came off the back of, when you think about motivation, there's away motivation. So you're motivated to move away from something. And then there's towards motivation. You're motivated to move towards something. And for me, that was like escape, you're escaping the industry, you're escaping whatever you're actually not feeling in alignment with anymore. And you're scouting for that, you'd like to move towards something that actually resonates. And for me, like that's who I'm dealing with. And I've done it myself. And that's kind of what built it, is because I'm not just, hey, that would be a cool idea. Let's see how it works. I'm like, no, man, I've lived that. So not only can I share the lessons and the success with others, but I can also help you, cross those bridges of adversity and show you how not to do certain things that I did. So I think as a coach, you always need to be prepared to, take it. I say that you can't take your clients further than you're willing to take yourself. So like, I always want to be one step ahead. And I think I'm just so dedicated to learning, and I'm just constantly digesting, audiobooks, podcasts. Like I read at least like 10 to 20 books every year. Like I just love information. Not many people do, but I'm not going to tell you, hey, sure, like you should read these 20 books. Who's got the time? I can just share the lessons that I want to teach you. And that's one of my strengths, and everybody's got their own, depending on the market that they're interested in and what lessons they want to share.
Something you believed 5 years ago about success and you no longer believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think, hustle, it's not about hustling. It's about finding an alignment. I think success looks different from everyone, man. And like, I think for me, success used to maybe be more financial. Now it's, especially having like a 3.5-year-old little girl, success for me means being able to choose my time to spend it how I want.
That's it. That's the goal. I'm sure you've heard already. Do you know Sahil Bloom?
No, not familiar.
So, brilliant author. He released a book earlier this year called The 5 Types of Wealth. And I think that will really resonate with you, because on everyone's universal scorecard, your success is normally measured monetarily, but he believes in 5 pillars. So you have your time wealth, which is what you just mentioned, is so important because of your young daughter. Social wealth, so all about relationships. Physical health, obviously body's got to be healthy to perform. Mental health, all about cognitive and psychological metrics. And then lastly, financial wealth. And the book is cool because it's not just theory. You can apply it. There's little scorecards where you can rate yourself and how you do. And I was really blown away at the end of it, like how rich I am in certain aspects, but how incredibly poor I am in certain, like, time. Like I have zero fucking control over my time. And that is going to change when I exit yachting later this year. I know I'm getting a whole new arsenal of time on my hands. And then it's kind of being present, being intent about how you spend that time is what cultivates a rich life. Because what's the point of having all those dollars in the bank account? Like you have no time to spend with your family, or you're morbidly obese, you can't even climb upstairs, or you are addicted to substances and you need Adderall to get through your workday. So go read that. I think you're going to love it.
I'll add to this, man. Sounds good.
Yeah.
And I think what I share with my classes, like, my passion lies in helping people wake up every morning excited about what they get to do, man. Like, I want you to like spend that time being excited about what you do. If you wake every morning, well, man, I got to go to work. That's not in alignment, man. Like, start spending your time doing shit that you really enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. What keeps you grounded while you're land-based? What are the things, the habits, the things you do that just kind of makes life a bit better?
Yeah, I think coming from yachting, you have this driven mindset, and it's hard to escape that hustle mentality, right? Like, I mean, you wake up in the morning, it's go. So coming back ashore, you feel like you have to do the same. And I think everybody needs to have a practice of mindfulness and meditation, because I realized a long time ago that's important. I practiced it for a very long time, but I also equally realized that as you ramp up that level of productivity, you equally need to ramp up your levels of meditation. There's a quote, or the Dalai Lama was quoted saying, "I've got so much to do today, I need to meditate twice as much." And that just illustrates the concept that when we got shit, we just have to take time to just step back and relax. And I think that's been a powerful lesson for me. It's it's not just about hustling and work all the time. Like, I'm very blessed to live on the coastline here in Australia, and then we've got beautiful surf breaks. Like, man, I surf as much as I can, and for so many reasons. It's meditation for me. It's my soulful journey with myself, man. It's exercise. It's it's being outdoors. I love it. So yeah, whatever it looks like for you, I just think you need to have that that inward healing. And similar to the pillars that you just mentioned, I followed an author, Garrett White, who had the Warrior program, and he focuses on 4 pillars being your body, being, balance, and business. So a business is obvious, your being is that time with yourself, whatever that might look like, playing meditation, whatever. The balance is having relationships and that network around you, whether it's friends, family, or whatever. And then the being balanced business, body's nutrition and exercise. So balancing those is so crucial to you to actually, feel in alignment with yourself, life. And I'm not going to go into it here, but I'm a big spiritual believer as well, energy. And I think having that balanced energy across all rounds is really important for success.
That's awesome. Okay, so to wrap us up, rapid fire questions.
Oh, shit.
One book that changed your life.
One book that changed my life. God, there's so many, man. One of my most commonly suggested books is, what's for Jocko Willink. Oh, I've gone blank, man.
I'm familiar.
The Extreme Ownership is the book, man. Like, absolutely powerful book to help you realize that you are in control of everything that happens to you. You start passing that ownership to others and you have no control of your life.
Best advice you ever got from a yacht owner or charter guest?
Do what you love and the money will follow.
That's so funny. That's literally exactly what my boss told me in my second year as yacht.
Oh, really?
Yeah. These guys all talk to each other.
Listen to them, right?
Yeah. And then we kind of touched on it earlier, but what was something very weird and unexpected about life after yacht?
Yeah, just everything, man. Having your own space to yourself, not only to share a cabin with others, having to go to the shops to actually provision for yourself, having to, travel around, put fuel in your car again.
It's so crazy, eh? I'm living land-based for the first time in 7 years, still working on yachts, so I just commute. But the other day, it was my turn to cook dinner, so my fiance sent me out with the recipe. And I came back and then noticed that we don't have salt. And I was appalled. I'm like, oh, I'm not on the boat. Salt doesn't just get provided. I don't just magically wake up with toilet paper in the crew bathroom. So it's a weird life we live, and we got to be grateful.
Yeah, 100%, man. And again, it's all about preparation.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, for those that want to get in touch with you, please let us know how, and I'll be sure to drop the links in the show notes.
Yeah, drop the links, man. I got me any, but ultimately it's Escape Scout on Instagram, escape.scout, escapescout.com. Feel free to share my details below. And if anybody wants to contact me, really, I am open to conversation, man. I just love networking, connecting with others. And you never know where it might lead. But, from my side, if I can't offer you advice and you just point you in the right direction, let's figure it out together.
That's great, dude. And thank you. It's really nice to have like-minded people on the show that aren't just, we're not just talking yachting, but we're talking life and important stuff like purpose. We barely spoke about money today, which is normally what I go on a tangent about the whole time. So this is really refreshing. And you're a good man, and good luck with everything, family side, business side, and I'm sure we'll do many fruitful adventures together.
You too, shoulder, Chris. Hi, brother.
Cheers, mate. Have a good day.